What's happening, everyone? Happy Monday. Hope all is doing well. Hope all are doing well. I'm going solo tonight as Doug is, I believe, at a jiu-jitsu tournament with his lovely wife. And we'll just be, let me move this around a little bit so I'm not staring off into the distance while I talk. So yeah, just me tonight. And I apologize in advance. We're going to start talking about some chemicals and get into some chemical names that I'm probably not going to pronounce that well. And we're going to be talking about ratios and some active ingredients in some of our chemicals. So always a good topic. And I think there's just so much. A lot of people's names aren't showing up. They're just showing up as Facebook. But, you know, spring's coming. We're going to be here. But before we know it, hell, we're already at the end of January. I mean, that's kind of amazing in itself. It's January 30th. We got one more day till February. So you guys that are sitting there under 4 foot of snow and freezing temperatures, don't worry. Spring corner. Anthony, what's happening? Hope everybody is just having an amazing Monday. Part of the onus of this show was that's an amazing roof mix. And you know, guys, if you spend any time at all, if you're new to this, if you spend any time on the Facebook forums, especially some of them, they're absolutely the worst place in the world you can get a lot of information from. Hey, Chad, hope you're doing well. Steven, Joshua, got the whole crew around here. Beautiful. We can definitely do some talking about butyl. That's one of the big ones that we have. We're not going to start with that. But we'll definitely get to the butyl. But one of the reasons I'm having this conversation is I had a customer in and there was another washer in here as well. Now this first customer, and apparently those two knew each other, but this customer is a part-timer, and he was talking about a job that he just did, and both the washer that was here and I knew that building, and he was saying, man, I made $100 in just 8 hours worth of work. And I was like, wow, I think, congratulations. That's where you want to be. I think probably your hourly rate's a little bit low. And then the other washer and I were looking and we're like, I just couldn't imagine that building really taking you 8 hours. There's no reason for that. That was a 3-hour building, not a lot of concrete at all. Very, very simple, not a lot of landscaping to protect. I mean, it was a blow and go. So he's also, again, a part-timer, and he's like, well, I just want to do one job a week. He doesn't have hose reels, and he's very, very proud that he's a part-timer and has another job. But so I'm saying, like, part-time or not, you're kind of hurting the market with those rates, Tommy. But then we started talking, and this one customer said, hey, I need some rust remover. And this guy actually had he made the comment. He said, what am I doing here? Whoa, I'm sharing a screen. Sorry. A little crazy looking there. So, yeah, he's not the only one, Stephen. But seriously, it's a 3-hour, it's a 3-hour job. From roll up to roll out. But we started, and my other customer that's here that knew him said, hey, I need some rust remover. And he piped up and he goes, well, the best rust remover in the world is Napa aluminum brightener. Man, that stuff is amazing. And it's really a lot cheaper than anything you have here, which, I mean, you're coming into my store and kind of insulting me. So now it's game on. And I said, well, I got to stop you right there. I got to stop you. Right there. I mean, it might be cheaper, but I can assure you it's not a better value whatsoever because of simply of the ratios that it's made at. So many over the counter so many over the counter products are really made so that whenever you go into Lowe's and you pick this up and you go into Home Depot and you buy this, you don't hurt yourself. Most professional chemicals are made at a much higher ratio than the over the counter stuff, than the Napa aluminum brightener. So as he gave the example, the aluminum brightener is $20 for a gallon, but my aluminum brightener is $100 for 5 gallons of it. And I said, well, so that's even at face value. If you bought 5 of those and 5 of mine, it really would be the same price. Yeah, but I can't get yours in gallons. I said, okay, sorry, it doesn't go bad. Hopefully you'd use more than 5 gallons of it a year. But the point that I really want to bring up about it is the active ingredients. Whenever you start getting into the SDSs and actually see what's making this chemical, I love you guys. When you actually see the ratios of these chemicals, you realize that it's actually not, that's just not true. It's much cheaper to buy the specialty made aluminum brightener that's made for the wash community out there. Let me get this shared right here. Share screen. Okay. Share the screen. Share it. So here is I don't know how well y'all can see that. I've got my screen all jacked up. Let me try to zoom it in a little bit more. But here's the safety data sheet for Max aluminum brightener. That's the Napa over-the-counter Max aluminum brightener that you're buying there. So, and a lot of these SDSs, they don't give the exact percentages because they hold it as a trade secret. They don't want you to be able to go out and get, you know, the exact ratio of what it is. Also, they don't have to list everything that's in there in the safety data sheets, or really just listing the stuff that could hurt you potentially. So just by looking at the safety data sheet doesn't necessarily give you the thought of everything that's going to be in here. Anyway, going back to Max aluminum brightener, and again, I mean, no disparaging remarks towards Max, not saying that it's not an amazing rust remover, absolutely works exactly as it's intended. But if you look at the percentages on here, so it's got percentage of phosphoric acid 1 to 10, sulfuric acid 1 to 10, ammonium biofluoride 1 to 5, and ethylene glycol monobutyl ether 1 to 5%. Probably in the middle to upper range-ish maybe of those percentages on there. So let's say 7%, 7 to 8%, maybe a 4, maybe a 4. Then when I compare this to something like the Water Dragon or another one, just real quickly, we're at 15 to 40%, and then the biofluoride is 5 to 20%. So again, if you take the upper range of that, so that's going to be, if we say that's a 40% or 30%, it's 3 times stronger, maybe even 4 times stronger than the Napa. So if he bought 5 1-gallon versus 1 5-gallon of mine, yes, he's going to have 5 gallons worth, and the price will be relatively the same. However, with the professional grade chemical, you can now split or thin it down and make 15 gallons, if not 20 gallons of the professional chemical on there. So, I mean, which one's better? Well, you wind up having a cost that's actually much lower than the over-the-counter Napa Auto parts, especially if you're using this stuff in volume. You also have a stronger percentage here. You can use it. Let's rust stain isn't kind of quite coming up, and you know you need to hit it a little bit stronger. Well, so now we can hit it a little bit stronger with the professional grade stronger chemical. With the Napa, you're going to be limited to the 10% chemical on there. So it's really not just the price. It has lots to do, not just the price whatsoever. It has to do with the composition that's in there. And that's something you should always be looking at and glance through the safety data sheet. Say, how strong is this stuff? What's the basis stuff of what I'm using? You know, another just great example that I found earlier. I was shocked at how low the stuff was in there. Let me get back and find some of the stuff. You know, here's another good one right here. The crud cutter. Everybody's seen the crud cutter. So many guys wind up using the crud cutter, the Zeps and the crud cutters, because that's what you wind up, you know, getting at Home Depot and Lowe's. And again, the no disparaging remarks whatsoever to the Zep, to the crud cutter, does exactly what it advertised to do. But if you're looking for something stronger that can go a little longer way, I mean, I hear guys all the time saying, well, I sprayed that on there and it just didn't work. Well, if you're trying to downstream it, if you've diluted it much, now it's not going to work as well. For example, the crud cutter, and I'm looking right here at the crud cutter one. So our crud cutter has proprietary ingredients, the alcohol ethylate, but the sodium metasilicate pentahydrate, it's less than 3% by weight in that product. So less than a 3% of the active ingredient on there. So very shocking that it's down that low. It's got some soap that it foams up nice, but the sodium metasilicate that's making that stuff work, which is a great replacement for sodium hydroxide, a lot safer product to use. But the actual the stuff that's giving it its juju just ain't that strong in here. Here's one of the stronger ones. And I can't remember which one this is, but one of our chemicals on here. We're at 5 to 10% on there. They were less than 3% on their one. And here we are at let me go back here. 5 to 10%. So you're probably more like 7 or 8% on there versus the less than 3% on it. So it's such a huge difference on these products. And people, that's one of the main things that we see on these products out here is literally the strength right out model that you're using it out. So many of these aren't meant for Crud cutter. Here's the one for the crud cutter. It is less than 9%. As the proprietary formulation on there, less than 9%, whatever it is in the crud cutter, it's actually making it work on there. So basically you're somewhere around 90%, water, suds, and things like that. Another one of ours right here, the sodium metasilicate, 5 to 10, not the less than 3% on there. So really huge differences in what's actually in the chemicals out there, and it's something that you really need to think about. Now, just wanted to get that part off my top, but all chemicals are not created the same. Which one is this? Oh, so here's another. This would be very similar to Gold Assassin right here. And anybody that's used Gold Assassin, you know that Gold Assassin is ugly, nasty, brutal stuff. The Napa Super Clean Degreaser Foaming Cleaner. Sodium metasilicate, less than 5. Sodium hydroxide, less than 5%. And a 1 to 10% on the surfactants on there. Promise you the Gold Assassin has more than a 10% and metasilicate, and they keep that as a trade secret on there. But anybody that's ever sloshed up some on their shins knows that stuff's pretty damn spicy on there. Here's one, LA Awesome. And I know a lot of guys, I hear this all the time on the forums. Oh, LA Awesome. LA's awesome. That's what I use. LA's awesome. And I'm not so saying that it does not work, but here's what it's got in here. And I want you to just think about these percentages on the LA Awesome. So it's got EcoSurf EH9, not quite sure what that is. Sodium metasilicate, tetrasodium, and water. Any of these active ingredients, the butyl, which butyl's typically the good degreaser that we use, the non-sodium hydroxide, it's less than 2.5% on there. Not a super high amount of chemical in there at all. And we'll see something else with some butyl on here in just a second, but really not very strong on that LA Awesome. And it's cheap. And then if you go and cut down professional grade chemicals, I think you'll find that they're probably, even cheaper than those are. And typically speaking, these things don't go bad. Purple Power one. Purple Power, that's a butyl based cleaner. 1 to 5%. So somewhere in that range, 2, 3, 4% of actual active ingredients of butyl on there. Really not very strong. I saw one that had gutter butter out here. And you look at the grease chisel, which is one of ours on here. And I promise you everything's closer to the 10% on here. So butyl, 10%. D-limonene, 1 to 5. Metasilicate, 1 to 10. Triphosphate, sodium triphosphate, the new sodium triphosphate, 1 to 10. The benzosulfonate, which is a quaternary cleaner on there. That grease chisel is a pretty angry stuff, and you're looking at more like a 30 to 40% active ingredients versus a 3% active ingredient. So whenever you start getting in here and playing around with the SDS sheets, you really see that it makes a massive, massive difference on there. Here was one of the acid products that we have. It's a 30 to 60% weight of acid and 1 to 15% on the surfactants on there. Oh, okay. Let's get off the ratios there, and we'll get into some of these. I don't have the hot stain. I've literally got paperwork up here to get EcoChem, and I plan on having that in here sometime in February. But big fan of the EcoM grease chisel. Hold on, I'll get it one sec, Matt, and look at it here and read it. The difference between caustic and butyl. Yeah, if we're talking about caustic, I mean, in caustic can be misinterpreted in two different ways. But most of the time, when we say caustic, we're talking about caustic soda beads or sodium hydroxide. Whenever we're discussing this in our needs, so think of caustic as sodium hydroxide. I personally feel that the sodium hydroxide blends of things tend to rip through animal fats and then petroleum distillates a little better than the butyls do. And they're a lot more aggressive. So yeah, it's somebody saying the caustic degreaser. So a caustic degreaser would be a degreaser with sodium hydroxide in it, where the butyl, I don't believe they call those caustic. If you ever smell degreasers, think about the old Fantastic, Crud Cutter, the pump up squirt bottles that we use around the house. A lot of those cleaners all smell very, very similar. And it's the butyl that you're smelling in there. In fact, people are amazed, on the shelves here, whenever I'll tell them, okay, smell these 3 or 4 different cleaners here. And they're like, wow, they all smell the same. I said, yeah, they all have really the same active ingredient on there. So, and yes, butyl does work very, very well on tire marks. I believe that, don't misquote me on this, but I think that gutter butter may be a lot of butyl in there, but I'm not positive, and I'm not seeing where I saved that that sheet in here. But butyls are actually very, very good for butyls are very, very good for removing gutter striping as well on there. And again, when we say they're not caustic, but we all know that F9 will remove paint. I mean, even butyl, you take Fantastic, Formula 409, Crud Cutter, you leave that, hell, even this, on a gutter too long and it's stripping paint. And so if you think about that, here I can argue the case for these over-the-counter stuff, because even this at less than 3% active ingredient can still strip a gutter. So you start using the more professional cleaners, you really do need to take advantage and do the proper dilution ratios on those cleaners, because if you don't, you're frankly just wasting money and you're spraying them too strong on a piece of property. Ground in tire marks on concrete curbs. Somebody was saying the groundskeeper right here, one of the F9 products. Love that for tire marks. I also get rave reviews on the EBC Restorer for tire marks. I got some guys that order about a case of this a month from me in different areas of Florida for the Chick-fil-A's they work at to remove the tire marks on there. So one of the things I truly love about the EBC is the first off the name, and that it says no hazmat on there, and can be called a safe chemical. Oh man, trash talk or drama. No, I've been well, I caught a restriction again on Facebook for something that I already did. So and yes, butyl will turn concrete orange on there whenever you dump that out on there. It always shocked the crap out of me first time I ever did that. Joshua said, what's the top degreaser I like to use? I guess it really depends on what we're using. I mean, if we're going after, a petroleum base thing, a heavy stained stuff, nasty, really funky, I'm a big fan of the Gold Assassin. We have some stuff that here that we package ourselves called Brown Cleaner, and that grease chisel. Again, awesome stuff. A lot more aggressive than, say, something like the regular EBC that's sitting right over there behind my left shoulder. EBC is a fantastic degreaser, but knowing what you're using it for as well. It's a much milder and safer than something like this that's pretty nasty. Yeah, the elephant stock, and I put that there for a reason. And I also got Joe's Nutripods too. The elephant stock, and you think about hydroxide. This is paint stripper. This is graffiti remover. This is literally what you can put on 20-year-old paint, let it sit on there, and turbo tip it off. It's a high hydroxide mixture. Really a lot of hydroxide in there. Probably one of the main ingredients in this stuff. Dangerous, burns the crap out of you. That's probably the biggest difference between the butyl and the hydroxide-based degreasers. So the butyl doesn't burn you as much, and the butyl's very effective. But I found for actually removing penetrated oils out there, I like the hydroxide based stuff better. But yeah, I think you were saying dumpster pad and drive through. So I would go with the brown cleaner. I would go with Gold Assassin. If it's not really horrible, funky, EBC works great on there. Or even Craig's Double Eagle, the F9 degreaser of that family. GK Groundskeeper work, even using it straight. Interesting. And I know that the Groundskeeper is also an acid-based product. And one of the things that Groundskeeper says is that it's truly, it's a maintenance cleaner on there. I think, you need to get it cleaned first before you put the Groundskeeper on there. Has always been my personal opinion and personal experience using the Groundskeeper. Let's see here. A solvent, yeah, solvent certainly works on deep tire marks. That'll work. Next up. Oh, is that, Steven, are you saying correct about it needs to be cleaned first before you spray that on there? I'm assuming. Somebody's saying something cleans deep oil stains, but I don't know who it is. The Nutripods. I don't know what a Nutriapod is. You mean them little rat things they got in Louisiana? Is that what a Nutri? No, I'm kidding. The Nutripods. new pods are great because with any kind of chemical that we put down, we can also sell the neutralization of that chemical. Being a professional, we can say, look, we need to actually neutralize anything that we put down. Here's how bleach neutralizes. Here's how, acids neutralize. Acids are going to neutralize by coming into exposure to an alkaline, vice versa. But a lot of alkalines can also be neutralized by water. But the beautiful thing about the NutriPods is it's a bleach neutralizer. Right here. And you put this into your gutter whenever you do a roof wash, and it's there you go. There you go. $25 bag of thiosulfate that has nothing else for the best delivery. They have no idea how to use it. They can buy one dang $6 pod and make 50 gallons. 100%. I don't know if this is Joe that I'm talking to because it's just showing as Facebook user, but yeah, a lot of times we try to go and reinvent the wheel, and reinventing the wheel, you wind up just, one NutriPod and making, and I think it's a 5 gallon. I don't know about 50 gallons, but I could, 5 gallon bucket. You put one of these in a 5 gallon bucket of water, and it's neutralizing. So if you put 3 pounds of sodium thiosulfate in a 5 gallon bucket of water, it's still going to neutralize. You're not helping yourself by using more chemicals. These chemicals have the proper ratio that they work at, that they're engineered to work at. And by using more doesn't necessarily benefit you. Using more really is just going to get into your pocketbook and cost you more money. The ratios are extremely important on those. One that I was always such a huge fan of whenever Agent Halt came out and did this, but Carlos did it as well with EBC. But you've got your regular Agent Halt, and then you have your 5X Agent Halt. The Agent Clean line did that with a lot of different things. So you're not paying to ship water. This makes 5 gallons of concentrate, which then breaks down and makes hundreds of gallons of regular as you're using it. You're not paying to ship water. One 5 gallon bucket of Agent Halt 5X makes 25 gallons on there. And yes, Stephen, it's science. It's adding the water to it. I mean, you get to this point of maximum saturation for the chemical where it's not going to do anything other than what it can do. And just by spraying more on it, it's not helping. You're just wasting at that point. So many people attack these stains out there. If you're newer in the industry, a lot of times we got to peel the onion. I mean, we got to go layer by layer by layer. Oh, I see. Yeah. Dads, that was some nasty, nasty, nasty stuff as well. Okay, I think Joe's saying one pod makes 5 gallons of concentrate. The concentrate makes 50 gallons. Yeah, makes a lot more sense. So you can get 50 gallons of sprayable material from one of these. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer than lugging around a 25 gallon bag or 25 pound bag of thiosulfate and trying to figure out the ratios yourself. I guess that's why this also makes I think the 3000 stands for NP 3000. 3,000 gallons right there. 3,000 gallons of neutralizer. That's a lot of neutralizer. And yeah, Leslie, the Andrew, whenever Agent Clean and Andrew did did the 5X, it really did just make a lot of sense. And it was really nice that they did that washing community. And you weren't just paying to ship a bunch of water around, which, I mean, if y'all were on earlier and you saw some of the standard soaps, you can see that really the main ingredient in a lot of those things is, absolutely water out there. Some of the stuff that I really recommend you do too, to look at the SDSs and see what's happening on your SDS, find out and learn as much as you can about stuff. Here's a shocking one that I saw. Let me share this. Let me share this screen over here. So Scott's makes the patio and deck with zero scrub technology. Oh, I mean, 100%. But so this zero scrub technology out here is one of the things that the main ingredient in this is, you'll see that? It's a quaternary ammonium compounds, benzyl C12, alkyl dimethyl chloride. I always love selling against stuff with names like that. It's like, well, I could use, do you have any alternatives to bleach? Yes, ma'am, I could use a quaternary ammonium benzyl alkyl dimethyl. Does that sound safer than bleach? Oh, no, that doesn't sound safer than bleach. Okay, well, let's go with bleach. But quaternary ammonium compounds, that's a quat. That's a quat. That's like what's in our SanQ. That's what's in, restaurant sanitizers. You know what else is a quat? You know what else is quaternary compounds? Wet and forget. And how well do people say that wet and forget works? Think about it. Just think about it. All right. Knowing what you're putting on is important. Knowing what you're putting on, knowing how to put it on is just as important as well too. Knowing what's going to react with other things. Oh, somebody asked earlier, did you prefer butyl versus sodium hydroxide? The one negative about the sodium hydroxide is how it will react with some metals, especially untreated metals, a galvanized or a zinc metal on there. It will turn it black and irreversibly. I mean, just boom, black. That's what problems people are having with their roofs. I have a sneaky suspicion that not every time at all, because I've seen it happen to me. I've seen it happen to people that have not used it, but I do wonder that if a lot of times whenever people are turning these galvanized metal roofs black, it's because they're using something with sodium hydroxide in there, a degreaser that they've picked up that has a higher sodium hydroxide concentrate, or they're using a bleach that has a lot of sodium hydroxide in there, because believe it or not, many bleaches have sodium hydroxide in it. They put it in there as a stabilizing agent for the bleach. So if you get one with a lot of sodium hydroxide in there, it's you got a problem. Say it works wonderfully. They're just homeowners not realizing it does damage. Well, I tell you what, down here, Tommy, people cuss that wet and forget like crazy, because they're like, oh, this crap didn't work. I've sprayed this up on my roof and nothing ever happened. I mean, we hear it, but I think we have a pretty heavier growth than a lot of places. Water plus what makes water thicker. And again, that's part of what we're talking about on the cleaning, Stephen. And so many people forget the dwell time part of it. I mean, you're not supposed to, in fact, I would say if you're getting instant results on a lot of things, you're probably spraying it too hot or too strong. Like if you ever spray bleach up on some siding and that stuff flashes black, bam, and disappears like the algae and that siding, everything goes bam, black, and then it's gone. You don't even see it anymore. You're spraying too hot. It should turn black and then brown and fade to lighter browns, lighter browns, lighter browns over the period of a couple of minutes, not just an immediate, jump all over it and hit it. Everyone should make a spreadsheet of their actual chemical cost per foot, per ounce, etc. We have to know our costs so we can properly price jobs to keep our margins right. So many of us done gulp, gulp, glug, glug, pour to make our chem mixes. We need to actually measure this. 100%, Sean. 100%. If it says downstream at 10 to 1, downstream at 10 to 1. If it says 4 parts water to 1 part chemical, yeah, that's really what you should be doing on there. And then the other thing that I just implore everyone to do is to well, there you go, Leslie. I don't think anybody can deny your success, Leslie. You've got an amazing company out there. Measure to the ounce. Yep. Camouflage is a nice cover scent, and it's very floral, very, very good scent. Even in something like this, it amazed me. The original Apple Wash, the one that the Power Wash store created for use with the proportion or however many years ago, and everybody has their own knockoff of Apple Wash at this point, which I've often wondered, I always think of that old Monty Python skit where they're talking about all the different fruits. And it's like, okay, we've got blueberry, blackberry, raspberry, watermelon, pomegranate, kiwi fruit, banana, persimmon, dragon fruit, strawberries, rhubarb. Nobody does that crap. It's like, oh wow, they're making Apple Wash. Let's make Apple Wash. And it always kind of shocked me. But I've had guys who've come in here with cases of the other stuff. Well, I want to try this. I want to see it, and we can literally go out there and hold this up, like hold a competitor's up and hold this up. And I've done this with about 3 different brands, and you see sunlight through the bottle of Apple Wash, or I'm sorry, through the competitors, and then it's like still blacked out whenever you see that. You can't get light through this. There's honestly a lot more dyes in it. So even things that you think are going to be the same are not always made the same out there. But part of that's going to be trial and experience of just using it. But, we know how much we can thin down that Apple Wash. Oranges, yep, oranges, forgot. Tangerines, tangelos, grapefruit. We could do a whole thing with just the whole citrus family out there. Ironically, whenever Tim and I were first talking about it, what he wanted to do, the soap that he wanted to make was an orange flavored soap. That's what he wanted to do. And I found that, and we actually got some blended out there. It was really cool. We made an orange peroxide based soap. It was amazing. The only problem was whenever that peroxide combined with the bleach out there, it off-gassed, and inside the proportioner, you lost if you stopped spraying for a second, all the gases went back up in there, and you would lose prime. So problem with the reaction with the hydrogen peroxide. I could do that. I could do a margarita scent. Well, wouldn't that be lime? Another citrus out there. But more so than just, what you're spraying on, it's so absolutely important Not sipping the soaps, Jacob. It's so important to read manufacturers' recommendations as far as what you're spraying on a piece of property too. And that's where we see so many people get into so many problems out there. And I just invite you guys to please take a little tiny bit of time and go in. And God knows if you guys are, I see just absolute experts out here in the industry looking, that are commenting on this. But man, just get out there and talk to, or not talk to, but read up. Whenever it's LP siding, read what LP siding says, or Hardy board siding. Go to the James Hardy website and see what they say on there. I've got an example right here, just of stuff that's out here. I hope this will be big enough to see. We can read that okay. I don't know where my miracle cleaner. Oh, here it is. One of the great sales things we always did. I kept a bottle of this, at all times. The 30-second miracle, the outdoor miracle formula on there. And people say, I don't want bleach used. Oh no, I can't have bleach at my house. And I'd say, okay, well, let me see things not bleach. And I'd keep this in the back of the sales truck. And I'd say, well, would it be okay to use something like this? And they're like, oh yeah, I've seen that at Lowe's. I think that'd be fine to use. Well, turns out what's in the miracle cleaner? Bleach. Epichlorite bleach, commercial grade, 8% bleach is what that is. Yeah, it's $26 a gallon whenever you go and average out the thing. I sold more jobs by pulling that out and understanding, just reading the thing, because customers see this at Lowe's and Home Depot and at Ace Hardware, and they kind of get comfortable. You can't, there's pallets and pallets and pallets of it in the springtime here in Tallahassee, Florida. If you've gone to Lowe's, you've seen this stuff in this area. Customers got really, really comfortable with it. Oh, you're going to use that. That's basically what you're going to use? Yes, ma'am. Apple wash is a great example. A lot of surfactant in apple wash that goes a long way and clings well. Must be thick, but it's just a sales gimmick. Yeah, it really doesn't have to be that thick. Thick can be good, but thick doesn't always make the suds happen out there. Sweet scents. I never thought about the sweet scents that bring the bees. Washing stucco and a massive swarm broke literally in front of us, and we ran. Can die from a bee. Eesh, scary. I never thought about the sweet smelling scents. Stick up is another good one. That is actually a citrus flavored or a scented soap as well. It's nice surfactant, pleasant orange smell to it. But getting back to here, what we were talking about with the care and maintenance of stuff. I mean, I found these. This is for Georgia Pacific vinyl siding from the internet. This is literally the Georgia Pacific website out here. If you don't know how to clean something, look it up. Please just look it up. And then whenever you start talking to the homeowners, you wind up knowing this and can just toss this off the top of your head. But Georgia Pacific literally is saying mildew. Mildew can collect surfaces and often evident surfaces that haven't been properly cared for and maintained. Normally, mildew will appear as black spots, easy to remove by the basic cleaning solution with the addition of sodium hypochlorite as follows. 1/3 cup detergent, 2/3 cup TSP, 1 quart sodium hypochlorite, and water on there. So basically, they're telling us to use a 25% mixture of a 5% solution. 1 quart to 3 quarts of water. We're going to have 1 gallon of bleach, 3 gallons of water, or 1 quart of bleach, 3 quarts of water. The TSP, commonly found, and you really don't even find TSP anymore, so you know this is really old stuff that GP's putting out there, but TSP works as a degreaser, and the detergent is just going to help it to stick. That's the suds. Good night, Stephen. Hope you have a good one. Thank you for contributions. And processes. Follow the directions set forth by the manufacturer. Everything is not just a spray on, wash off. Dwell time, scrub required for certain things for optimal results. Like anything else, cutting corners equals inferior results. 100%, Sean. 100%. So care and maintenance. What this is saying, to power wash it, be sure to read your washer instructions when cleaning. Hold the power washer straight at eye level. Don't aim the washer upward, as the water may collect behind the siding. Collected water could leak, which could produce streaks, or could stay behind the siding, which could cause decay. Set it up to a minimum of 1500 psi, maximum of 24 psi, using a 40-degree tip. Certainteed, which is another manufacturer, they have a very, very similar recipe. Detergent, trisodium phosphate, a quart, and then 3 quarts of water. So what's the takeaway? And I've done the math. If they say use a 25% of a 5% SH, if we're using 10.5%, that would be approximately a 12% SH solution. Use soap. Use a degreaser, don't exceed 2400 psi, use the proper angle, and use the proper tip. Whenever you start talking to these homeowners about, I've read this is what it says, and they're saying that I can use a 25% solution of a 5%. Honestly, Mr. Homeowner, I'm going to be shooting at this at less than, it says I can use a 12% SH solution, broken down, not a strength, but a 12% by total volume of of cleaning solution. It can be a 12% of SH. I can actually get better results than that, because I know I can get it by setting that proportioner on about a 0.8 or a 0.9, which would be less than a mixture on there, and get great results using that. So I can clean your property actually using less chemical than the manufacturer is telling us to do. But we want to talk about the proper angle. We want to talk about, and why are we doing the proper angle? Well, we don't want to force it up behind it. Why are we doing the proper angle? Well, we don't want it to come out of the weep holes out there. Whenever you start talking to these homeowners and really show them that you know your stuff, you can sell your process, you can sell your service at a higher amount than what the average guy can sell it at. Because most of the guys go out there and say, hey, I got me a 4,000 PSI machine, and I can knock anything off of there that needs to get knocked off here, and I'm gonna spray some bleach on here with a pump up sprayer. Well, whenever you start talking really educated in an educated fashion to these homeowners, you know, I'm guessing that this is either Certainteed or Georgia Pacific. Those are the two largest manufacturers of vinyl siding, and those manufacturer requirements say don't shoot this at more than 2400 psi, and that we need to use a wide angle, 40-degree tip on here. All of a sudden, the homeowner's like, man, I've had like 2 other guys over here giving me quotes, and nobody has actually said anything like that. And, I'm not telling y'all conjecture. This is what actually, this is what happens out there. This is what truly happens. I love the Drive It information, and Drive It, for those of y'all that don't know, synthetic stucco. But Drive It, this is directly from their website. Use of pressurized clean water alone to clean and finish will require higher water pressure to remove the surface contaminants, which increases the likelihood of damaging the finish. Without application of a cleaning solution, the pressure required the finish will usually require such force that the surface is abraded or removed. This must be avoided. Finish damage by such power washing techniques alone can void product performance warranties. Furthermore, Drive It tells you exactly how to clean it and what to do it. Drive It says pre-wet it before that you clean it. Apply at 30 to 50 psi. High pressure, you don't want to use high pressure. Apply from the bottom up. Keep it wet for dwell time to avoid evaporation, and rinse at less than 100 psi. That's what Drive It says. And whenever you start knowing stuff like this about Drive It, and you start talking to homeowners and facility managers and property owners about stuff like that, they're going to love you. They're going to absolutely love you because you know what the heck you're talking about. At least you want those kind of customers. You want the customers that are willing to pay for expertise and knowledge. Anyway, all right, I got a mess to clean up in here. I brought out all these little chemicals over here from my stash of stuff that I have. I got to get all this kind of squared away and cleaned up. But you know what? Do your research, guys. And I know the guys that are watching this, our regulars on here, I know you guys are amazing, but research chemicals, research processes. I saw somebody in Spray Wash Academy asked a question about, hey, what do I use to clean these blocks? And well, you got me at your beck and call too. You just belly up to the old sales counter here. But I laugh at Jacob. I hope you have a good night too, buddy. And I told a guy, I said, I think you'd be better off asking what is it on these blocks just instead of what do I use to clean it, because it was obviously an efflorescence problem with some water getting into the blocks and soaking through on there, not like a sprinkler efflow or calcium buildup, but something soaking through and didn't necessarily manifest itself as the salts coming the mortar coming through, but the blocks itself. And you could clean that all day long, but if you don't actually talk to the building manager about, hey, you've got to stop this water from penetrating these blocks, it's just going to come back. And there might even be a really nice hefty upsell of a sealer on there as well too. But instead of just asking, hey, how do I do this? Invest in getting the knowledge and talk to a pro and say, hey, what is this? What is this stain? What's causing that? So, oh, Tommy, I appreciate it, man. I am proud. I'm just happy as a hog in slop. I love my life. So, all right, guys, I'm going to cut this a little short tonight since I don't have my co-pilot Doug on here with me. But y'all have a good night. And as always, thank y'all for watching. See you next week. Actually, no, I won't see you next week. You'll see Doug next week. I'll be in Belize next week. Bye.